Aloha everyone, thank you for joining us with Launa with Loke. Today I have special guest Benjamin Mamuad here.
Good morning.
And we are going to be talking cancer. As all Launa with Loke lives, it is non-sponsored, non-paid for, and not an advertisement. However, we do want to support all businesses, all local businesses, small businesses, new startup businesses. And Benjamin is the owner of AAA Roofers main office in Waipahu, right?
Yes.
So we'll start off talking about Ben's journey through cancer, and we'll have some special guests jumping in, and then we'll go on into his business and his journey with AAA Roofers. So thank you all for joining us and introducing Ben.
Good morning.
So Ben, before we go into everything, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Let me see. I am from Oahu. I'm the owner of AAA Roofers Hawaii. I guess we are talking about cancer today. So I've been on a journey with cancer. I've had colon cancer. It's been now 11 years since my initial operation. I'm still alive today. I'm still good. So I guess that's it. Life is good. God is good.
So let's go back to when you were diagnosed. Did you have any symptoms, or what was happening before you found out you had cancer?
Well, I've been having blood. I was having blood in my stool for about a month before I let my wife know. Actually, I got the scoldings, right? She said that I should go and check. So I went to check, did a colonoscopy, and found out that there was a fairly large polyp in my system. So they did a biopsy and found that it was cancerous. At first, it did not hit me. At first, it was more so, okay, now am I a cancer patient because I have this? So I called, and come to find out, they said, yes, you are now a cancer patient. So it still didn't set in. It took at least a week for it to set in before I realized that I was now at that time a cancer patient. We went and did more tests, and from there I did pre-op chemo, I did radiation, 28 treatments. It was rough.
So when you said it took about a week for it to set in, what was your initial reaction when you heard your diagnosis? At that moment, what was your initial reaction, and how long did it take for you to share the news with your wife and family?
I shared it with my wife pretty much immediately, but for me, it took about a week for it to set in, to finally acknowledge the fact that I was or am a cancer patient.
What stage were you at time of diagnosis?
About a stage 2. Yeah. So, I was blessed enough to find it early. The doctor said it was as big as my fist, but it was not malignant. It was more benign than anything. So I went in for my operation about maybe 4-5 months after I was diagnosed. See, before that I had to do chemotherapy. It was a pre-op chemotherapy for about 2 months. And then I went and did radiation, 28 treatments. It was every day. From there they set it up to where I had to go in for my operation. My initial operation, the main one, was done in February 1st of 2010. It's been a while. So like I said, I'm kind of blessed. I guess you could say, waking up after the operation, having my wife there, having my daughter there. Like I said, I was kind of blessed, but I was kind of out of it too, yeah. So normally, when I get nervous, when I'm drugged out, I talk a whole bunch of bubbles. Things don't get me the way they do until afterwards, yeah. After that operation, I did post-op chemotherapy. That was kind of rough, but you know what? You have to just move forward. For me, 50% of my battle was won, and I say that, and it's because of my attitude that I had with this cancer. I did not mope, really. I did not do any of that, and whenever I did, my wife would not allow me to. So it was more the state of mind. That's what it came down to. Is the state of mind, how you perceive it, just how you look at it. You cannot tell yourself that, I'm gonna die or anything like that. You just gotta move forward and do the daily life kind of thing. That's pretty much what I did.
You talked about radiation and chemotherapy.
Yeah.
How was that?
So once again, I lucked out on the chemotherapy part. They did not install a port, or they did not do anything intravenously for my chemo. It was actually pills. It was a cancer pill that I took, and it was a chemotherapy pill that I took. My pre-op chemo was 5,000 milligrams a day, and then post-op chemo was 10,000 milligrams a day. So it beat me up. It beat me up, but not to the point where I was down. I still got up. I still went to work, believe it or not. About 2 or 3 months after my operation, I hired a boy to carry my ladder. Went back on the roof, did my estimates. You gotta keep moving. You cannot just mope and sit or lay and tell yourself that the world is over, because it's not. It's actually not. Here I am, 10, 11 years later. I feel good. I mean, there's things that come with it after all this chemotherapy and this radiation and everything else, But the main thing is that I'm still alive. I'm still breathing. I'm still smiling. I'm still happy. I'm still stressed. I'm still scolding my kids. So, life goes on, and that's just the way it is.
When you did your surgery, what did they have to do for the surgery?
I went into Queens. They removed, it's called sectioning. They removed about a foot of my colon, took it out, sewed it back together, and left me with an ileostomy bag for about 18 months. It was supposed to be sooner than that, but I had a little bit complication with infection and different things that set in, and that was another thing on top of the cancer was, I picked up an infection in the hospital. Hospitals is where everything is. Hospitals is where all the sickness is and everything. Just so happened I picked up an infection while I was in the hospital, and that became another thing. Aside from just the cancer itself, I had to treat the infection. With that being said, I intravenously did a whole month of antibiotics to get rid of that. So, it was a journey. It was a journey. It still is a journey. But like I said, I'm just happy to still be here and still be alive and, you know, still happy. That's it.
So when, yeah, I know. Sorry. So you guys know that this is live, it's raw, it's unedited. So I have family members in the background who are saying he's leaving out a lot. So, and I know some of you on here are either battling cancer or have loved ones that are going through cancer as well. So I know you guys are probably saying the same thing. Ben is not a touchy-feely person.
I'm just kind of generalizing a lot of it. I don't know how deep I'm supposed to get, but
As deep as you want, as raw as you want.
it was very deep. It still is, you know. And like I said, you know, after they took out a whole full of that colon, now I know why God gave you 5 feet. Today I only get 4 feet. So, with that being said, I mean, you know, I still have my complications, but I just keep moving forward. That's just it. You know, with the infection thing, like I said, that was another thing that almost killed me. It was another bullet dodged, I guess you could say. But with that being said, that also has its effects.
When you got the you're cancer free, how was that?
That did not set in quickly either. When I was going through my cancer thing, I didn't intensify it so much in my mind to the point where, you know, where it just took over me. From the beginning when they told me that I was a cancer patient, that took a week to set in. The day that they told me that I was cancer free, that probably took about another week to set in, because I just kept going and I just kept moving on, kept living my life the way I should, with or without a cancer, but of course with limitations, right? I tried not to put so much limitations on myself, and that's why after like 2-3 months I was back on the roof doing estimates, maybe not doing the roofing work, but doing the estimates, not carrying heavy things, but like I said, doing the estimates and doing the work, doing what I know how to do. Did my walk every day. I spent 13 days, and I know this for a fact, I remember it because I spent 13 days in a hospital. February 1st is when I had my initial operation, went to the hospital, and I got out on February 13th because I told the doctor I'll like be home on Valentine's Day with my wife. So, you know, back then we wasn't married, but we might as well have been. She stood with me through thick and thin. She stood with me through everything. Today she still stands with me through everything. You notice I said she stood with me, not by me, right? You know, there's a difference there. I guess it's just the way it is. I mean, you know, you have to just move forward. Cancer it eats everybody up. Whether it be you're the person who has the cancer or the loved ones around you, or you know, whatever, it is devastating.
You wanna try now? Thank you, Ben.
Here's my wife.
So we're gonna bring on Tony, who is Ben's wife, and she's gonna talk a little bit more and kind of give the spouse's point of view, because like Ben and I said, although cancer targets one person as an individual, it affects everyone as a whole. So we're going to kind of get a different perspective on the battle of cancer.
Hi. So I'm not the type of person that likes to do this kind of stuff, but there's a lot of stuff that he did leave out that I wanna get cleared up, okay? So when he did first find out about cancer, can I just start?
Yeah, go.
Oh, okay. When he did first find out about cancer, it wasn't just he found out and he moved on. Oh no. He was in deep depression. He slept for 3 to 4 days straight. He would research every night on the computer to find out more information about the cancer, about doctors, what needed to be done. He was stressing.
Your son is attempting to reach you.
He was at one point, he thought he was going to die. Just the word cancer itself, it brings this fear of death to people.
Yes.
And they don't realize it. You know what I mean? Other people don't realize it. You know, but he was like, there was a guy that was coming down to do healing ceremonies and everything like that. And he was like, I need to go because he might save my life, you know. So he was at a point where he thought he was going to die. And I remember us in the backyard having that conversation, you know. But at that point, like how he said, you cannot let, this is what we found out. You cannot let the cancer consume you emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. You know, physically it does. But when it starts going into your head to where I'm going to die, I'm going to die, I'm going to die, you know, that's where your will, your strength from inside kind of goes down. And this is what we believe, you know. You got to look at it and you got to face it head on, whether it is a stage 4, stage 2, stage 3, you know, you got to face it head on with a positive attitude because that'll bring the best out of the whole situation. Okay. So he was in deep depression, slept 3-4 days straight at a time, to the point I had to go inside and start kicking his bed. Wake up already. Get up, get out. You still have life. So you have to live life. You know, when he first started going through the whole surgery part and everything like that, it was hard mentally. You know what I mean? It was hard.
He kind of beat me up in the beginning. Beat her up, you know, but eventually we had to find a way to stabilize ourselves and battle this thing head on.
What was going through your mind and how were you feeling?
I got scared. When they first told us at the hospital that he had the cancer, it was positive. And at that moment, they told us, there's no other option. We need to take it out. You're going to be stuck with an ileostomy bag for the rest of your life. At that moment, I cried. I freaked out. I cried, sat there, cried, left. We went into the car I was like just trying to hold it together because that's what we do. We try to hold it together and try to be strong so that they can be strong. Well, in our situation, that's what it was. You know what I mean? I felt I had to be strong for him so that he doesn't break down because I saw what he was going through already. You know what I mean? And I have to be strong so that he can be strong. You know, I didn't want him to think like, oh, okay, I'm in this situation. Now I gotta go and I gotta be strong for my wife and my family and my kids. You know, no. You know, I didn't want that burden to be put on him. You know what I mean? So I tried my best, you know, and we went into the parking lot and we sat inside the car, started like nothing. After I cried in the doctor's office for a little while, then we went and I remember it like it was yesterday. Sat inside, threw the car in reverse, and he said, "You okay?" And I slammed it in park, and I said, "No." And I just started bawling, you know, because so many things go through your brain, you know what I mean? It just goes through your mind, like, what are we gonna do? You know, how are we gonna do this? How are we gonna do that? What's gonna happen? You know? It was just so much emotions that go and so much thoughts that go through your head at the time, you know what I mean? So, but at that point, we had our breakdown. Yeah. I had my breakdown.
And then we just move forward. You gotta allow yourself to have your break. You gotta have that breakdown. Mentally, you gotta, and
physically, you gotta emotionally just fucking let it go.
No, it's okay.
You gotta literally just let it go. And there was moments throughout the whole journey that we had our breakdowns, maybe not together, but separately.
In between, yeah.
Yeah, but you gotta allow yourself to do that, especially as a person that's on the, on the outside of it. Not actually going through it, but, like for me.
Just as bad.
Yeah. I had to allow myself to have those breakdowns. He didn't see a lot of it, but that's okay. Because you gotta release. You cannot hold it in, because nobody will ever be 100%, I got this. You know what I mean? And then you just, from there, you just kind of, you do what you gotta do. You come into so many obstacles, but I feel if you dodge them, you're only going to add more to the list of obstacles to come. So you hit, the way we looked at it was you deal with it head on.
Go head on.
Just head on, deal with it. Okay, we got to this point, this is the situation, what do we need to do, how do we move forward from here? Throughout his journey, we came across a few people that had cancer that they just morbidly, like they was in.
They look like death already.
Yeah.
They look like they was already gone to the point where, you cannot. It's hard to see that. It doesn't make us better than anybody else. But I mean, if you take it head on, and believe me, like she said, I was not happy the whole time. There were times where I went through my own hell. There are times where she went through her own, But in the mix of it all, the better part is, understanding what it is, understanding that you can't let this thing bring you down. Do the best you can and live in the way you live, and just try not. Don't let this thing kill you, Don't let this thing bring you down and keep you down.
Try not to.
Try not to.
Yeah.
And like she said, there's a lot of instances where I would go into the bed and just go into a cocoon, and she gotta come and she gotta kick the bed and tell me, get the hell up. What the hell you doing? There's times where I would go and see my doctors, and she'd be right there with me. And like I said, when I get nervous, I joke around, all this kind of stuff. So
there's times we in the doctor's office and he pulling pranks on the doctors. Right before surgery, he's pulling pranks on the doctors, making them scared, jumping a foot off the ground. And I'm in the back trying to be serious because he's getting ready for pre-op, registration, you got to do the physical, and he's over there joking around, but that's his way of dealing with it.
That's my way, and it still is my way of dealing with that kind of stuff, One thing I like to mention though is do your homework. I don't know how OCD you guys is, but I am very OCD. So when I found out about all of this, and when I finally got out and crawled out of that bed and told myself that I had to do something, I was on that computer like she said. And I stayed on that computer. When they told me that I had to wear a bag for the rest of my life, I went and did my homework.
Every day, every night for hours.
Every night for hours. I'd be on that computer looking for the right doctors. I can honestly say that with the team of 5 doctors that I had one. I had a oncologist, I had a radiologist, I had a infection doctor, I had a surgeon, and I had my PCP. So that was a team of 5 doctors right there.
Can we mention one of the doctors that really... Yeah. So one of the doctors that really, really played a big factor in his life and his journey was Dr. Nishihara over at Queens.
George Nishihara.
And in the beginning, when when he first got diagnosed and he was told there's no other options,
I went and looked around.
Throughout all his researching and everything, Dr. Nishihara's name always popped up. He even asked people's homes, doctors that he had done their roofs and stuff like that, and it always came back to
It always went back to him, yes.
And so when he got in touch with Dr. Nishihara. He was with another medical, and we went to Dr. Nishihara, and he gave it to us raw. He told us exactly what it is, what we needed to do. What played a big factor for me was getting the second opinion and not just sticking with one doctor.
Yes.
You know, because you cannot, in a big decision like this, you gotta find out if there's different resources out there. You cannot just stick to one. That's your only option. You know what I mean?
There's always options.
And so when we found Dr. Nishihara was like, no, we can do this and we can do this. His thing was, let's shrink it as much as we can with the post chemo radiation.
Pre-op.
Yes. Let's shrink it and see how small we can make it. Then let's remove it and we'll take it from there. And that's exactly what he did. He went through the chemo and radiation. And then when he first found out it was the size of your fist.
It's the size of my fist.
After the chemo and radiation, it was the size of a golf ball.
So it substantially brought it
came
down.
And then from there, they were able to do, it's called a pull-through. I don't know the legal term of it, but literally they had to pull, like he said, they took a foot of his colon out. And so he has the scars, you know what I mean? But he did have the ileostomy for 18 months. And he did get the infection, so that kind of set back. It was supposed to only be 3 months, the bag.
Yeah, so that infection was another one that you know.
So just to be clear, you are bag free.
Bag free.
I'm not a bag man no more.
Yeah. And it's funny because we used to have poker games at our house, okay? And, you know, somebody would fight or whatever, and everybody would be like, hey, Ben, that's you. And he's like, no way, mine is in the bag, you know what I mean? So it's things like that got us through, you know what I mean? We joke around about it, you know what I mean? Because
people would freak out because I'd bring out the bag, you know. But
one time he was on the couch and mom came over and he had the bag out like on top of one towel sitting there, you know what I mean? Like his ass was sitting on top of a chair, you know what I mean? And mom comes and she's like, put that shit away, you know? I was like, yeah, literally, put that shit away, you know?
So you have to treat them like that. And it's not always going to be like that, but, you know, the situations like that, you know, keep you going.
So some questions I have in general are, how you talked about mentally, spiritually, emotionally. To cover those things, who or what was your support? And
Right here.
financially, how did it impact you folks? So you might have leaned on Tony. Tony, who did you lean on?
God. I prayed every night. And then, you know, we are in recovery. So we did a lot of our meetings. We went to our meetings, our AA meetings and stuff like that. That's where I got a lot of my support. You know, in fact, one of our members, he passed from cancer, Leo.
Yeah.
He passed from cancer, and he even told us, do not settle for one answer. Get a second opinion. And that's when we started even researching more and more.
We searched
and more.
everywhere. Well, yeah.
But, you know, did a lot of praying. Just did a lot of praying, you know.
Financially,
I sold my car. He sold his first vet. You know what I mean? Because the situation that we were in at the time is like the material things that we had extras of, we never need them. And I didn't.
That never mattered at that point.
Yeah, it's like we're not gonna stress over finances. I didn't want that to be another burden in his brain. Okay, so I sold my car, you know, and then about 2 years after that, you sold the vet, yeah.
Yeah.
That was his toy. So that was his like little therapy as well, going through it, because he had the vet to kind of consume himself with, keep busy. You know what I mean?
Myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He kept himself busy, and you know, after he got past that whole, you know, depression, I'm gonna die, the road is gonna end. You know what I mean? And he started seeing, you know, there is there is outcome, there is hope, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There is the light at the end of the tunnel, you know what I mean?
She still went to work every day. I did my work, you know. But when I was going through like radiation, by the time 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm tired already. I had to get home. If I'm not home by 2 o'clock, I'm dozing on the wheel. So I know that I needed to be home by at least 1:30 in the afternoon. When I started doing the Zolota, when I started doing my my chemo, you know, it was a little bit worse, but I still went to work. I couldn't just stay home. I had to keep busy. It was kind of bad, but at the same time, I mean, like I said, you know, we try not to let it knock you down. Do your best, you know. And like she said, you know, there's times where I would be so down, but just having somebody there made a big difference for me. Just gotta keep moving forward.
Did you guys have any resources? Any resources to help you folks in any way?
Financially, no.
Or even like
Our three
just
kids
for
was still
anything?
small. No,
Wow.
our
Our meetings.
our three
So
boys
our
were still
meetings
small.
was where we
Yeah.
found a lot of our support, just being at our meetings
Just
and
being
stuff
there.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And we still had the three little boys. They were still small.
Yeah, they were big. Their talent was like still in like kindergarten stage.
Yeah, no, maybe even diapers at 2009.
Was he?
Oh no, he
No,
started
he was
kindergarten.
kindergarten.
He was kindergarten. They never understood so much of what was happening.
Well, they understood enough to where he didn't want to go to the doctors. The first time he saw you inside the doctors, he refused to go back.
Yeah. They never like come see me in the hospital.
His words was, "I don't want to see my dad like that."
Yeah. Yes, that's what it is.
So you guys basically did everything on your own.
Sort of.
Sort
Wow.
of.
I didn't know that.
We did what we did, and like I said too, you know, and she did not approve of it. But 2-3 months after my operation, I was back on the roof doing estimates.
But I got it. You know what I mean? In the hospital, he was bring my bag. He was doing estimates in the bag. Oh, let's go back to the surgery. Okay? 1 hour after surgery, I had him up walking. The doctor, as soon as the doctor gave the okay to walk, I said, okay, get up, get out of bed. You know? I said, he said, oh, but it hurts. I said, I don't care. I'd rather you be up walking around in pain than lying in bed and not doing nothing for your body or nothing for your recovery, lying in bed in pain. You're going to do something for your recovery. You're going to be in pain. You're going to get up. You're going to walk because that's what you need to do. So what was the door?
Yeah, from my bed to the door, and I said, enough. And my thing was, I never think about the trip back to the bed, right? So she said, oh, okay, that's good. Now I walked back to the bed. I'm like, forgot about that part, you know. But it hurt, you know.
But it hurt for a good reason.
Yeah.
You're doing the process for
And
healing.
slowly, daily, the walk was getting a little bit far. By then, I was aware that there was a walk back. You know, my daughter Shai was there too. She flew in and she stayed with me too there. You know, right through. She stayed there. You know, he was there too. After a while, she had to fly home, but she was there for me too.
And she always checked in,
Of course.
you know, from the other island. She would even call me or text me, you know what I mean, saying thank you and stuff like that, and check in on him and make sure that he was okay and how everything was going and stuff like that. So
Yeah. So moving forward.
So
There's a lot.
yeah, there is a lot, but it's good because I mean, like I said, I personally know people who watch my lives that are going through it, and you know they encourage this segment, but they didn't feel comfortable sharing their story, not just yet. So thank you folks for sharing.
Thank you.
But something that's in the back of my head and kind of transitioning now is, while you folks are going through your battle through cancer, you folks are also going through someone else's battle through cancer. You guys want to talk about that? Or not yet?
How about we get? Are you talking about Misty?
Yeah.
How about we go and get MJ? Because as much as emotional it is for him, but Misty's no longer with us. So for me, that is very hard. So let me go get MJ.
So
And come.
Yeah. You wanna? Oh. So just to.
Oh, I guess you were watching.
Just to let you guys know, Misty, she had breast cancer,
Yeah.
and her and Tony have been friends from very, very,
15,
very
16
young.
years old.
And unfortunately, after years and years and years of battling, she grew her wings. So Tony was being support for both Misty and Ben. So right now we have MJ, who is Misty's son. Hi, MJ.
He's MJ is the youngest of 4.
You wanna talk about mom?
Where do I start?
I think maybe better you ask questions.
Do you remember how old you were when you found out mom had cancer?
4th, 5th grade.
Did you understand the cancer at the time?
Not too much. After a while, I did.
What are you going through right now? What are your emotions
I don't-
right now?
I don't know. Whenever mom gets brought up, I just think a lot.
It's hard. It's a lot of emotions that come about, yeah.
It's been 2 years.
Almost.
Almost 2 years. So Missy just passed away almost 2 years ago. 3 years ago. And she's been battling it
6 years.
6 years. You wanna
How that started?
Okay, yeah, so
So how Misty's one started was she had a
mass.
mass, yeah, on the side of her, what was the right or the left breast? I want to say it was the right side. It was on the right side. And I remember it was Tyler's birthday and we was all at Eva Beach Park when she told me about it. And she was saying that it was getting bigger, and then her doctor at the time, because she was so young, her doctor at the time didn't feel the need to go for risk was not very high because of her age. And so they let's watch it.
Yeah.
Do you remember that, Ash?
We were at what is that? The brother or sister restaurant to Makino Chaya, Todai's or something like that.
Oh, the one in
No, the one that was in Waikiki. Yeah, Todai's. Yeah. We were eating dinner, and when we got home, she was laying down in mine and MJ's room, and she kept complaining that her boob was sore, and she was feeling a lump. That it wasn't cancer, so she ignored it for a little while.
Watch it. We'll check
Yeah,
back
they
in a
said to
few.
watch it, but she kept complaining that it was sore, so she told them, "Fuck that, take it out." And when they took it out and retested it, it was, how big was it? Like the size of an apple?
Mommy.
Apple. It was the
Yeah,
size of an apple.
Mommy.
That thing was huge. You know, and even I remember her telling me when she went to the doctor, the surgeon, you know, the doctor had told her, I can't believe they let this go. You know, and at that point, it had already gone into her lymph nodes.
Yeah.
so it's spread.
It spread it.
How long was it from when she first went in and they told her it wasn't cancer to the time that she asked them to take it out anyway?
Not
you
that
remember?
long because mom wasn't comfortable with it.
It was about a month, I think it was.
Yeah, she wasn't comfortable with the lump, so she just told them to take it out.
And then they found that it spread to her lymph nodes. What happened from there? Sorry, everyone who's watching. This is Ashlyn. She's Misty's daughter. So she's joining in from Oahu.
She started her chemo and radiation. And when she was doing her radiation, they left her on her radiation too long, and she ended up having bad burns on her chest to where she couldn't she couldn't even put a shirt on.
Yeah, she's walking around. Yeah. And you could actually see the marks, yeah. You could see all the burns.
It was like blisters on her chest. Then her hair started falling out, and her hair started falling out when we went to the mall one day to see our sister Sheila that lives in Kaneohe. And MJ had a panic attack in the back seat because he likes to play with mom's hair from the back seat, and the next thing you know, he had a ball full of hair in his head. He started screaming. So that night, mom was like, I don't really care anymore. We went home and she shaved her head. MJ shaved his head and she shaved her hair. I don't know.
How hard was it for each of you to watch your mom go through this?
It was hard. I mean, she used to tell us, what are you going to do when I pass away? And we were kind of like in denial about it at the time. Like, there's no way we're going to lose our mom. There's no way. I mean, we all acted out like every kid does. We gave her attitude, made like it was nothing. Because we were kids, we didn't know any better. But I used to break down in my room and cry because I was scared. I mean, I don't know how my brother was, but I used to think about it in my room and I would just cry, and it was hard. At that time, it was the year before my grandpa passed away, then my dad got arrested, then my mom got cancer. It was just one thing after the other.
What about you, MJ? How did you deal with everything?
I was so young too, so I didn't understand.
He's dead.
Just turning to your friend for support.
None of them moved on.
So for each of you, none of you guys turned to anybody. You all just dealt with it yourself.
Well, mom never really let us see her hurt. She always told us she was okay, that she was going to fight this, she was going to win. You would never see her down. She was always smiling, no matter what. No matter how much pain she was in, she fought.
All the surgery that she had to go through, all the doctor appointments, she
Really great to the whole thing.
I mean, if you didn't know her and you didn't know that she had cancer, you wouldn't think she had cancer.
Yeah, I see all her hiking trips and all this kind of stuff, and I'm just like, oh, you go.
Yeah.
She had 30-something surgeries, right? Was 30-something?
Yep. Her breast, she had multiple on her spine, her neck.
That's when it started spreading more.
Her eye.
Yeah.
So it spread from her lymph nodes to the blood in the bone.
Yeah.
They told us it was
Fine.
gone.
That was fine.
At first,
They told you it was gone?
Well, they said that she was in remission.
she was cancer free, and then when she went back, it spread. But I don't know. My favorite part was when she started her reconstruction and she asked me what color should she make her nipples.
Oh my God, yes. She literally had it tattooed.
Yeah, she asked what color should she make her nipples. She said she could choose.
Like, what the?
Grab that from Kaysen. Hurry up. Grab it. Grab it first.
Her whole journey in the background was not, it was very difficult. You know, she also had, as Simona there, she had a bunch of friends that kind of helped in the background, going to doctor appointments and, you know,
She never showed anybody.
dealing with the mental part of it, the emotional part of it. She reached out to her friends. Yeah. You know, I remember her coming over to our house because they both was going through it at the same time. So them two was like this, you know, when it came to the cancer stuff, they kind of supported each other, talked to each other about it, and this is what I'm going through, this is what I'm going through, you know what I mean? They kind of went back and forth. And I remember her, after a few years, like she actually stopped treatment. And
She gave up.
I remember her saying, I just want to go on a boat.
Your son is attempting to reach you.
And then sail out to sea and just let me go. And
That was around when my grandma passed away.
so she was at, and she's like, I don't want to do this anymore, you know, because there was so much things going on with the cancer was just taking a hold. You know what I mean? She was getting beat down.
Hers was malignant. It was pretty bad.
She was getting beat down emotionally, spiritually, mentally, even physically, you know, where she was giving up. And then she said she didn't want to. I remember after that, there was a point where they said, you know, it's stable. She was in what is that word?
Remission.
Remission. She was in remission for a little while. That it's not growing. That's a good thing. You know, I remember the doctor saying that. And I remember after her stopping everything, then she went back a year later and it was like so aggressive. You know, mind you, Misty's cancer was I forget the terminology of it, but it was a rare, very aggressive cancer. It wasn't the one that you slowly see come along. It came and boom, it was like that. When we went to her doctor's appointment, the doctor told her she had 4 to 6 years to live, depending on the quality of life. That's what the doctors told us. You know, and after she went through the whole hump of giving up and getting back on board and everything like that, you know, her thing was, okay, let's just make memories. That was her thing, let's make memories.
I can't hear you. CJ is going with the dirt bike.
Your mom's thing after being told that she only had 4 to 6 years, her thing was, let's make memories.
Yep.
That's what she always said. And that's why she would do all kinds of stuff on everybody's Facebook.
She did it all working 3 jobs. 4 jobs if you include her on-call
4
job.
jobs sometimes, yes. She worked Legacy of Life, which was one that she really, really, really enjoyed, you know, and it was more so going on and collecting organs to help people live, you know. I remember she got really excited at one point when they wanted her to actually do the cover to remove at one point. She was really excited about that, you know, but she would fly outer islands, yeah?
Yeah.
She would come outer islands to go collect the organs, bring it back, to take it to the person that's in surgery so that person could live.
That person get chance.
Yeah, she did that. She worked at Bikini Hospital. She did Kapiolani Hospital.
Premier Medical.
What is it? The labor and delivery, yeah?
Maternity ward.
She helped deliver Shama's daughter.
Yeah, she helped deliver Shama's daughter. So, you know, she made sure that she would bring, Misty was at the point she was like, she wanted to bring everybody together and always just, let's do this, let's do that, let's do this. Let's get the family all together kind of thing. She tried her best. Yeah. Let's go here, let's do that. You know, she always tried. You know, and it wasn't always a walk in a park. It wasn't always happy thoughts or happy feelings. You know what I mean? There was a lot of freaking yelling and snapping and, you know, disagreements here and there, you know, like everybody else, you know.
But all in all, a lot of it was good memories anyway.
Yeah.
So that's the
What advice, if each of you could go one at a time, what advice, I would say for Ashton, MJ, and Tony, what advice would you give to our viewers as a family member or as someone who's going through it on the outside? What advice would you give?
To just be there for the person. You don't know how they're feeling on the inside.
Still think the word to stay.
What did you think? What you could have done or what? My advice would just be, you know, like Ashley said, be there for the person and just try to have a positive attitude. You know, a lot of times the news is devastating. To the end, she kept going. But just be there for them.
Yeah.
Let them, and even if they just need to cry or bitch or, you know, vent, sometimes you just gotta be silent, let it go. You know what I mean? And not try your hardest not to take it so personal when they're snapping. Or if you're there and they just gotta lash out, try your hardest not to take it personal because they just gotta let things out, you know.
There's a whole bunch of emotions going on at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just gotta let she used to do that for me.
What advice would you give to not only people that are going through it, but family members on the outside?
Don't give up. The quality of life is different, but still, no give up. Do things. Be thankful. Understand that you go into a whole bunch of emotions yourself, and try your best not to just jump on family members for anything. Yeah, you know, mixed bag of emotions will bring on things that should not even exist. You know, you just gotta, you know, like when I was going through mine, like, you know, I try not to pick on nobody. I try not to scream at my kids for unnecessary stuff, or I try not to fight with my wife over things that no matter. You know, that's it right there. You know, just keep going.
I noticed that a lot of people who have cancer don't like you to feel sorry for them. They rather you just be happy and treat them normal, like nothing's wrong or they're not in pain or anything like that. One of CJ's best friends just lost his auntie to brain cancer. Yeah, babe? She had brain cancer. No, breast cancer. She started with breast cancer and it spread to her brain. But she reminded me so much of mom with the little time that I knew her. I was telling her about my mom and she said she was the same way. She don't want nobody to feel sorry for her, ask her if she's okay, how she's dealing with it, because she already made peace with it. And I guess that's just how a lot of people are. They make peace with it. So they don't like when you pull the "Are you okay? Like, how are you doing?" Like, a lot of the times they're fine and they don't want to talk about it. Stop. Okay.
Is there any advice that you could give to your youth or
Is there anything that you like? Um, anything you want out of this, out of the live? I mean, people are going to watch it, so any resources you have, advice that someone can reach out to you. I think a lot of people will overlook the fact that, okay, yeah, you were young, but you still growing up without your mom. And your family is torn right now, even though you're in a good home. A lot of people overlook that. And I say this from experience because although my mom didn't die of cancer, I grew up without my mom, without my family. And that was overlooked. And this second response and the father wants to come in and it's still very, very hard. And it's almost like a taboo that talk about the cancer, even though we talk about him. Like he's still here and we remember him, but just talking about the emotions of the cancer itself and how the family dealt with it, or they still dealing with it, it's an uncomfortable situation. So if from any of this, then let us know. Because maybe someone watching and hearing all of their stories, maybe someone who's been there or going through it can reach out to you and say, hey, I'm here for you. I can help you in ways that maybe we cannot, or maybe ways that you're not comfortable sharing with us, because sometimes talking to an outsider is better than talking to someone who's in it. You're good. I guess no, how about what is the best? Is there any? What is the best situation? Think about when you found out and how old you are now. Like, what would you tell somebody going through the same thing?
If he's older,
Or even at the age that you are now, what would you tell them? If you could go back and tell your former, yourself, or even at the age that you are now, what would you tell them? If you could go back and tell your going through the same thing,
if he's older,
or even at the age that you are now.
And we reached the max timer that Instagram allows alive. So we are just
that's what happens
up.
when you deal with Portuguese.
We reached the max for the timer for that Instagram allows live. That's why it cut off. But we kind of just want to wrap up right now, and I want to thank Ashlyn, MJ, Tony, and Ben for joining us and sharing. Tony, where are you? Thank you for being vulnerable and sharing your stories and being so intimate with what you put out. And to all the followers, like, if you are, my advice I would give as an outsider is find a support. I mean, Ben and Tony found it with meetings, MJ with friends, and Ashen with friends, and find a support, not only to help you in dealing with it at the time, but also dealing with it after the fact, because sometimes, although the cancer may end in one way or another, the feelings and the processing of it, it doesn't go away just as fast. So
Can I say just one thing? The one thing that I do know that helps, and it's very difficult for a lot of people, is to talk about it to anybody. Anybody. You can talk, if you're on the bus and it comes up, you gotta talk it out, and always talk about it, because it helps. Talking about it helps heal. If you gotta cry about it, cry about it. Just let it out, because when you hold it in,
That's when it gets really bad.
that's when it gets bad.
Yeah.
So just talk, just talk to anybody. Even if it's a janitor, talk to a janitor, you know what I mean? Talk to a bus driver, talk to a stranger, talk to your best friend, talk to your auntie, your uncle, your mom, your dad, anybody. But just talk it out.
Let it out.
MJ, you want to say one thing, your fondest memory of your mom? No?
I don't know. There's a lot.
What pops in your mind?
Plenty stuff there.
She was a good person. Too much happiness to say one.
I don't know. She did a lot of stuff.
She's always singing and dancing.
Remember, she made me dance for $20.
Yeah. Is that the only way we can get you to dance? Okay. Any last words, Ben?
Just talk it out, like they said. Don't keep it in, and just stay strong. Stay strong.
To AAA next week?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you all for joining Lana with Loki. It was a very intense one today. Thank you, MJ. And thank you all for watching. If you have any resources for anyone, please comment it below. Resources are very good, and not everyone may be aware of what resources are out there for them, whether they're going through it or whether they're a family member of someone that's going through it. Find your support and talk to people. I did want to say something. Before I end, both Ben, Tony, Misty, and her family have participated for years in Relay for Life.
Oh, yeah.
So, just little things like that, you can support someone. Whether you know someone who's going through cancer, whether you're going through cancer or not. Just small things like that it does help a lot. So,
We've done it.
Yeah. Do you want to share a little bit more?
Yeah, we can. So Misty actually got us into doing the Relay of Life. So it was a yearly thing. We did it every year at Ala Moana, and at first we kind of was like, but once we did it, it's actually fun, because you see how much cancer affects everybody. And you just see the whole community that comes and gets involved. And it's not just at Ala Moana. I believe they have a bunch of different places. But every year it was a good thing. They have education there. They have resources there. I remember the first year we walked through the whole one freaking display of a colon with polyps in it. You know what I mean? That was pretty interesting. It's like, oh, I'm walking through an asshole. But there's a lot of resources there, and it's pretty interesting, and it was fun because we got a lot of people to come on and just hang out and barbecue and sleep over.
We put up tents.
Yeah.
And we just hung out. Some stayed, Naturally, I didn't want to stay because I like sleeping in a nice soft bed. I don't want to be sleeping in a chair. That's just me.
But it was fun. It's fun to go, and just see how much support that is actually out there, because they do a whole bunch of different things. But yeah.
Yeah, so if you can get involved with Relay for Life on your island or wherever in the world you are at, they also have Men in Heels and other different walks of life support groups that you can join. Just, I think for myself, to my viewers, find an outlet, find a support to help you not only with what you're going through, but like Tony and Ben talked about, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. Talk to someone, someone inside your circle or even someone outside of your circle, but get the support that you need. So again, thank you all for joining us for Lana with Loki. Stay tuned. Maybe next week we'll be doing we'll actually be talking about AAA roofers. We kind of pushed the limit today, so we'll continue with AAA roofers and Ben and Tony's journey through their business from beginning to now, and probably next week we'll do that. So thank you all for joining again, and stay tuned for the next Lana with Loki. Aloha.